The violence that occasioned the ABN parliamentary rerun is condemnable. There is no justification for it. It speaks against what we've been told to expect in a government that championed a narrative of a reset, where they believe that the crimes, quote unquote, or the ills of the previous government will not see the light of day under theirs. The brutal assault on Mavis Hawah Koomson, Nana Ekuefriye, she was also assaulted. It wasn't captured on camera, but she went through it. Journalists, members of the party, polling agents, Chris Lloyd, the national deputy organizer. Annie, nothing justifies the violence they experience. This morning, I've been listening to a condemnation and a condoning of the violence at the same time, where you even queried at the very beginning that security is the responsibility of the government. Going into a by-election, which didn't cover the entire constituency, it covered only 19 polling stations. And this is not the first time you have witnessed this. And electoral violence has reared its head in Ghana for a while. At least there are clear instances which caught the nation's attention. Akwetia to Triponi, Talensi to Etiwa. When it comes to Talensi, weapons were discovered in vehicles linked to NDC officials. It was the media that reported it. When it comes to Etiwa, an NDC women's organizer drove into a crowd of MPP supporters. Did they not? I also West Wogon, the infamous one that the NDC loves to use as an example, but I'll put that in context soon. In all of this, the NDC has been at the center of it. In all of it, they've been at the center. And she mentions Asin North. I was in Asin North. Annie, if you recall, your cameras captured a complaint by the General Secretary of the party, who said Dampari had issued a directive to arrest anybody who caused any untoward, or should I say, any bad behavior, whatever. Even if there was a slight indication that they were going to be rough, they arrested them. Some polling station executives were arrested. This happened. This was under an MPP government, wasn't it? Yet, what do we see? And I'm shocked hearing this narrative being ascribed to Hawah Koomson, making it look like she just got on grounds to push and run riots or cause confusion. There were a number of members of parliament on ground that day, right? Akosua Manu was there, Hawa Koomson was there. Actually, they were walking together till they were separated, where she walked off to another polling station and she veered off to the St. Peter's polling station. The video we saw was, if you see, in the moments that she was captured, she wasn't agitating or doing anything. She was just observing. The gentleman we saw charging at her, and I say charging because this is not a figment of my imagination, or for us to be made to think that she was there causing confusion and they went there to arrest the situation. In fact, there's been several narratives by other people on the ground saying that they were asking and bellowing for Samir Uku, Dennis Miracles, and Hawah Koomson till they spotted Hawah Koomson and they moved towards her. Now, if you see people saying, where is that Hawah Koomson? Where is she? Big, strong, bulky men. Stronger than the blue guards that they have assigned, blue water guards that they have assigned to police Galamsey sites. Clearly bigger and stronger and tougher. They've assigned them just to a polling station election. Look at them, charging at her. In self-defense.
They didn't assign these guys.
I don't know how they showed up.
No, they didn't assign them.
I'm saying that this morning we have heard a defense of the thugs that assaulted her, saying that in her words, and I quote, her checkered history is what occasioned the assault on her. In this particular instance, here is a middle-aged woman observing an electoral rerun at a polling station, okay? A constituency of, which belonged to Honorable Ekriye before she lost it to Sheila Battels. She sat in parliament with her at one time. So a friend, a sister, and a colleague. Nothing stops her from going to observe. In fact, the only thing that stopped me from going to observe that morning was I was at my daughter's graduation. She was accepting a prize. So I had to be there as a parent. That was the only thing that stopped me from going to ABN that morning. But I'm convinced that beatings had been pre-packaged for MPP people, because nobody was spared, from Chris Lloyd to Honorable Ekriye herself to Hawa Koomson. Saying that she has a checkered history is almost telling us that anybody in government now who's had an occasion to fight for themselves in their constituency or act in self-defense, there should be some sort of retribution with no timeline.
What do you describe as self-defense?
Okay, so I'm standing, observing at a polling center, St. Peter's Methodist Church, by and large, peaceful. Nothing is happening. Then there's a group of people, and this is corroborated by the persons that were on ground.
Oh, you're making reference
to
what happened
just
last Friday?
Yes, that's
not
Friday.
Past history.
Not past, and past history, I'm saying that there's a history of electoral violence, and NDC has always been at the center of it. That is fact. Now, people are coming
No,
at
that's
her.
not fact. That's your fact.
This is, that's, you can choose to twist the fact. I'm saying from Akwetia to Talensi to Triponi to Etiwa, NDC was at the center of it. You cannot distort that fact.
Akosua,
then subsequently, let me finish.
No, you made the statement.
You said it is not your fact, it's your opinion. So let me continue.
You said there's been history of political violence. In fact, that's a general fact. But for you to distinguish that there's a particular political party that has always been in the center of it, that is your fact.
She started her submission by saying there's an intentional narrative to put President John Mahama at the center of it. And I'm speaking to what she said this morning. And I'm building my point. So if you allow me, that when this woman, a middle-aged woman, was there, observing, she saw a group of men, bulky men, strong, bulkier than the Blue Water Guards that are supposedly fighting Galamsey right now. Asking, where is she? Walking towards her. Now, if you see a group of men you don't know, coming at you, asking, who are you? Election day, when we have a checkered history of electoral violence with them at the center of it, what do? Her only saving grace was a pepper spray. When people say that, why was she holding pepper spray? Annie, even me, as a parliamentary candidate, I can't carry a weapon. I can't carry a gun. I can't hold a gun. I had pepper spray on me at all times. Because every now and then, you get intelligence from other people saying that, watch where you are going, watch where you are going. How many women even survive in the politics? Even going through, let's say, ordinary elections. Look at the things they face. How much more a former member of parliament in no constituency than where she belonged, with a lot of issues at Kaswa specifically. It doesn't justify violence. But I'm saying on this occasion, she was innocent, minding her business, observing a parliamentary rerun. Where do we see her gesticulating or shouting at people, as compared to her example of Sam George? And Sam George was pit against public opinion at the time because he told the whole world that a man had been murdered in his home, which turned out to be false. It didn't happen. He was lying, using it as bait to agitate the people, saying that you murdered a man, the person who charged at him. Look, let's be very careful. She's established something this morning that is easier to defend NDC thugs than to actually come to the defense of an innocent middle-aged woman who was just minding her business, observing an election. She's come to the defense of NDC thugs this morning, telling us that it is easier to interdict a police officer, like we saw happen on Thursday. Were we not told that the police officer that slapped the journalist had been interdicted? Yet we know the faces of all the people that were on ground that day. They are no strangers. What makes it even worse, and this is the lie that has been told this morning, that it has nothing to do with the presidency. And I'm looking for the videos to send to you. And please, anybody watching me, send me the videos right now of the convoy that included Malik Basintali, the cars that drove to ABN. From the Jubilee House, those people were there. Subsequently, after the election, they proudly, from their cars, they were standing in the rooftop amongst others, saying that we only beat Hawah Koomson. We didn't kill anybody. We only beat Hawah Koomson. If you not tell me that is, if you not tell me that that is premeditated, orchestrated at the seat of government, then I don't know what it is. Because I would have wanted to believe that, you know what, it's one of those things where it was confusion carried from her previous engagements for another constituency, but it doesn't justify it. Then her posture this morning, and the deliberate attempt to whitewash it to make it look like it's if it's anything, then NPP is well deserving of it. Look, in the history of this country, no sitting president has set up a commission of inquiry into electoral related violence. The Emil-Shot Commission was set up to do what? Investigate the Ayawaso West Wogon. If for nothing at all, the outcome of that commission of inquiry was for us to disband vigilante groups. Was it not the outcome? That disband vigilante groups because at the heart of it is the violence that is perpetrated. Look, peace and security is fundamental. Without peace and security, she will not be at the seat of government occupying the position she has. We will not have parliamentarians sitting in parliament setting laws. We will not have the gaslighting, narcissistic, emotional narratives that she championed here this morning, telling us that the economy is doing well.
Narcissistic, wow.
We will not have people victimize victims, make them feel that they are the ones to, yes, they are the ones to blame for what happened to them. Annie, imagine that sometimes when I have a problem with your moderation, okay, and I say that you play to the side of the NDC sometimes because when we are talking, you don't allow us to flow. And for some reason, somebody is watching you and is irritated by you. And there's a by-election in a constituency, which is not an MPP stronghold, and let's say it's an NDC stronghold, or vice versa. And you show up. And for some reasons, a viewer who is discontent with you, okay, but supports MPP, charges at you, and comes to say that I don't like your moderation, whatever preconceived notions they have for you, and slap you. And because you're a journalist and they don't like what you've done, or they don't like how you moderate. Are we saying that we condone instant justice? Because that's what she's done this morning.
Then you have to watch your language.
You have to watch your moderation.
You have to watch your language.
Because
you seem to
at the end of the day,
you seem to continuously cite people against me.
No, I don't cite people against you. I point out the obvious when it's happening.
When you finish,
this morning you were not doing it, but now you are doing it. You are entering that spot.
No.
But let me come to it.
You started it, so
don't break my flow.
You started it.
You will not. I said, for example, if I call you out and subsequently somebody is irritated by it and decides that I'm going to slap this girl for misbehaving on TV, that is their perception. Would we say then that it is okay? Certainly it's not.
I'm not going to take it as just an example you're citing. I'm going to take it as a
but your argument, then from what you are saying, it's me. Today I haven't done it, but now that you brought it up, it makes it a point.
In a very subtle manner. So
I didn't do it, but then I think I said I didn't do it.
I'll still let you make your point, so you continue.
Well, you've done it. You've proved my point. And we have somebody here, whilst we are using common sense to appreciate the gravity of the situation, knowing that electoral violence has a troubling history in this country, where we have to condemn both sides, where there was a commission of inquiry, where we actually disbanded vigilante groups. The video you showed, if it was to mock NPP people, all it serves is evidence that subsequently we let go of these guys who were keeping us safe during electoral processes. These are people saying that we gave our lives out in Etiwa when bullets were flying. And from who? In Talensi, where NDC officials were arming people that scared them off, because it shouldn't be a debate of ideas. It should be brute force and violence. And we have here, there's a rules of professional conduct and etiquette, 2020 LI 2423. As a lawyer, justifying violence in democratic exercises, unprovoked. She's actually, she should be cited for it. They should call her. Because she sat here to condone thugs. Because the police that have been interdicted, it's easier to interdict, police than to thugs. And even the video you showed, a warning to NDC saying that if any of them are caught for whatever reason, then they will suffer the same fate as MPP. Instant justice is what we are condoning this morning. Playing a history, so-called, a narrative, so-called, by a woman who has had to put, we don't talk about the challenges that politicians actually go through. We don't talk about it enough because the impression is that when you get power, it's a conduit to largesse and to a better life. The challenges, the personal experiences, and the personal limitations that people go through is not often highlighted. And I'll blame the political class for it. At the end of the day, we are to blame. But nobody should pin this on Hawah Koomson. Nobody should pin this on Chris Lloyd. What was Chris Lloyd's crime? Did you see him? He was beaten like a thief, dragged. And all that saved Chris was he didn't swing back. If he had swung back and struck the jaw of one of them, it would have been justification for them to pummel him even more. I went to visit Hawah Koomson. And when she told her story, Annie, she said one of them, she saw the glint of a steel weapon, which could have been a knife, it could have been anything. She saw them coming. Where is she? Who is she? Where is she? What is her crime? That she came to observe. We are saying that what was she doing there, really? What business did you have at Assin North where you went to observe the elections then? In the injury room, so as your justification that you were in the injury room. Anybody has a right to go. You could be an observer. You were playing a role. It could happen. Do you understand? But why then do we make it seem today that irrespective of who you are, wherever you stand, if people come at you and people are now saying that, oh, the buck stops to the president, you are shocked, you are surprised. Why not? Because we saw a difference. It's been how many days? Silence on the matter.